Welcome to another episode of Commending and Contending. It's a podcast about how the gospel of Jesus encourages us to live our lives and use our words to commend and contend for Jesus and his gospel. I'm your host, Jonathan Holt, and joining me today is Amy. G'day, Amy.
Hey, Jonathan.
Now, Amy, where has God planted you?
Yeah, so I live in Western Australia. I was born almost exactly in the middle of WA in a little mining town called Newman, and then grew up in Perth in the northern suburbs. I completed a ministry apprenticeship at the church I grew up in and studied at Trinity Theological College. And now, for the past 10 years, I've been on the team at Providence City, and I am involved with uh, overseeing our ministry purpose and also thinking about growth groups.
Amy, how's God been encouraging you recently?
Yeah, Providence City, we're a church plant. We're not a baby anymore. We're 15 years old, but we still live the church plant life of bumping in and out of buildings and the other challenges that come with that. And so recently, we've planted a new congregation to accommodate some growth, but also the challenges of a building that's kind of not fit for purpose. So launched a new 8:30 service. And one of the things that's been super exciting is seeing a whole bunch of people who haven't served before at church jump on board, join a team, and doing that in really sacrificial and joyful ways. So, the first people rock up before 7 a.m. to set up chairs and sound gear and practice music. There are young adults who come and teach kids' church at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And actually, we've got young adults who do that across the day. So 8:30, 10:30 and 4 o'clock. Just seeing God's people delight in bearing the responsibility of kind of serving one another at church. It's been really encouraging.
Yeah, that actually is super encouraging. Sometimes people feel like, oh, if we start another service, then we're duplicating all these roles. It actually sounds like
Yeah.
you guys, by duplicating the roles, have actually created more ways for people to get on board and serve.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the exciting things about it too is that people have really engaged with the mission. So we said to people, hey, at the moment, there's no spare seats here for people who don't know Jesus. And we really want people who don't know Jesus to come and join us. And now some of those new people who started serving, people who are maybe reading the Bible and praying for the first time or service leading for the first time, they jump up and they say, hey, we're praying that God's going to fill these seats with people who don't know Jesus. And that's kind of really given the whole church a common kind of vision and mission that's gotten people on board.
Amy, you part of your role is amongst those young adults you were talking about. Uh,
Mm,
how do we help young adults in our churches commend Jesus and his gospel?
yeah, I reckon our young adults are kind of doing it already. They already are passionate about seeing their friends know Jesus, which is fantastic. And they are going about kind of creating all these different opportunities themselves to share Jesus with their friends. And so I reckon one of the most important things that I do in my role is to cheer them on, to hear about, as I hear about the opportunities they've created or seized to tell their friends about Jesus, to pray with them and for them, to ask them how it's going, to help them with resources when they need them, to suggest people who might come and be involved, things like that. Really, it's kind of on the side supporting them rather than kind of doing anything for them, if you like.
Yeah, I like that idea of remembering that they're disciples who are commending Jesus, and maybe what they need is the cheer squad. They need the people on
Yeah,
line saying, yes, you can do this. This is great. I love that you're doing that. Um, what sort of questions are you asking that mean you get to hear these stories of what they're doing, sharing Jesus with their friends?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know, I actually reckon they just kind of bubble up with excitement about the thing that's happening and they want to share it because they're so excited to see what God is doing amongst them. And so sometimes it's that they initiate and they say, hey, guess what? This friend is coming to church. This friend's getting baptized. This friend wants to read the Bible. And sometimes, we have Bible study together. So sometimes it comes up, as we pray or as you ask how their week's going. But I reckon they're usually pretty excited. They want to tell you about it and they want you to cheer them on. And so they want to share it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. What sort of resources do you think uh, are needed in this space of cheering on and encouraging people to commend Jesus?
In terms of the actual commending itself or the cheering work.
Yeah, let's do the commending stuff first, but let's
Yeah, yeah,
talk about the
yeah, yeah.
cheering work in a moment.
Yeah, cool. Well, so thinking about some of our young adults who are maybe reading the Bible with a friend for the first time, I reckon sometimes they just need a bit of help working out what that might look like. So sometimes what that's been is just actually meeting with them and reading the Bible together and saying, "Hey, this is what I do. You could do this. It's pretty simple." Sometimes some people want more structure, and so it's about pointing them in the direction of a bunch of resources that might be available. So maybe I think at uni they've been using Uncover John, and so some of our young adults want to use that, or we have a resource called Investigate Mark that some of them want to use. And so it's just kind of saying, here are the things that are available, what's going to work for you. Sometimes it's been providing events for them that they can invite people to, um, whether that's an explicit kind of outreach thing or not. And I guess maybe just, this is not a resort as such, but just thinking about how church on Sunday can be a place that they can invite their friends. So we work pretty hard on a Sunday night to make the Sunday service a place where someone who doesn't know Jesus would feel like they're kind of belong there, allowed in the room. So always try and speak as though there are people who are going to be there who don't know Jesus. Try not to use language that would make it sound like we don't think they're going to be there. Just things like that to make it as easy as possible for our young adults to be inviting their friends.
Yeah, so I'm hearing there some of it is modeling to them that sort of Bible reading, encountering Jesus, so they experience it. Some of it is pointing them to the resources that you can use if you're having that, but then just being the hosts who welcome,
Yeah,
create the environment where that sort of thing can happen, where they might, yeah, have the opportunity to uh, ask their friends to go with them on the next step of
yeah,
exploring disease and what he asks of us.
yeah, definitely.
And so they sound like really, really good ways for that kind of helping young people or any of us, I guess, commend Jesus if that's a thing we're longing to do and would love to do. But I wanted to kind of come back around to
Mm,
that ministry of cheering on. I wonder whether we underplay the work of cheering
mm.
on. And I think sometimes we skim through the end of Paul's letters where he cheers on his fellow workers and says such positive things about them.
Mm.
What is it that we need to be doing or thinking about when we do the ministry of cheering on?
Yeah, I guess it's just at a fundamental level, it's just thinking that the ministry that the whole body is doing is really important and that, each part is essential to the work of the gospel. And then taking an interest and kind of celebrating people's wins, praying with them, grieving with them their disappointments, and basically kind of walking alongside people. Being as excited about what they're doing, what their ministry looks like, as our own ministry.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing, isn't it? Um, to be as excited for how God's at work in them. And I wonder
Mm.
whether sometimes some of that enthusiasm actually is quite infectious. Uh, when we get excited, they're excited, we see their excitement, we feel that excitement too. And I appreciate how you pointed out that sometimes we need to share that disappointment when they had a go and it didn't go how they wanted.
Yeah, for sure. And it can be really heartbreaking to either have kind of had a go at a ministry endeavor and it not kind of go the way that you want, or to have, you know, prayed for somebody, met with them to read the Bible, and then had them kind of turn away, or even just, there's a woman. She's not a young adult, a woman who comes to our women's Bible study who's um, invited a friend along, and it's the friend is still interested, but it's just very slow seeing her come along. There's lots of reasons why she can't make it, or and just that kind of the drip feed of disappointment. That's not the grief of someone having said no, but just the kind of needing the perseverance to keep going when it's slow.
Yeah, continuing to walk with people through that and recognizing that long-term work.
Mm.
Yeah. Amy, who's your cheer squad? Who cheers you on in your work that God's called you to do?
Oh yeah, I serve on a fantastic team, so I'm really thankful for the people that I serve with on our ministry team. Especially my boss is a particularly good cheerleader, celebrating what we do as a team and encouraging us to keep going. I am super thankful as well, though, for the people in our congregation. So I am well prayed for, and people tell me regularly that they're praying, that they're thankful, that they appreciate what's happening. And so, yeah, I'm really thankful for a church who want to see their ministry staff healthy and thriving, and who are really appreciative, I guess, for our service amongst them.
Yeah, that ministry of cheering on by letting people know you've prayed for them and what you're praying for.
Yeah.
Gee, when you're kind of laboring away day by day, week by week in ministry leadership, what a beautiful gift when someone from the congregation speaks to you that way, lets you know
Yeah.
you're regularly mentioned on their prayer list. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a particular woman who messages me frequently to say, I prayed for you this morning and this is what I prayed, and I'm really thankful for you. And um, she knows that I'm not perfect, that we're not perfect. She experiences our failures, but that doesn't stop her from just being really consistent in praying and letting myself and others on our team know that she's praying for us. It's super encouraging.
yeah, it's such a beautiful example that consistent faithfulness to pray, that's
Mm,
that's powerful, and then also to share that, to to
mm.
harness the technology of the text message, which takes a couple of seconds, but actually has almost like an outsized effect by sending through that quick message. I prayed for you today, and this is what I prayed for. I can see how that would be just marvelous.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Or, another woman who messages to say, hey, our growth group's praying for you tonight. What can we pray? And I'm pretty sure that growth group, I'm pretty sure they do that with all the staff. And so everyone gets their turn of, this
Yeah.
this week we're praying for you. What can we pray for you?
Yeah, that's a great gift that I think the ministry of cheering on and praying on
Mm,
can be a powerful way that we keep one another commending Jesus.
yeah, definitely.
Amy, is there an article at the Gospel Coalition Australia website you'd like to recommend to listeners?
Yeah, I'd love to recommend an article by another Perth local, a woman whose name is Meredith Vanderclip. She's written an article that's called Making Gratitude Great. And I found this really helpful. I know Meredith. I've been encouraged by her personally and by her example of being thankful to the Lord in all things. And yeah, found this article helpful because she kind of crystallizes her thinking in a really sharp way. Yeah, about how she gives thanks to God for his kindness.
Yeah, and what a good thing to give attention to growing in gratitude. I
Mm,
reckon we can stick the link for that article in the show notes. After hearing how helpful it was for you, I reckon some people might want to go and have a look at that. Amy,
fantastic.
thanks for chatting with me today.
My pleasure. It was great to chat to you, Jonathan.